decent, benevolent beings that are watching this video whenever you happen to be watching this video here at YouTube at Blooming Light, at Blooming's Tribe. I believe the title says TI's Challenge, the TI's Challenge with Reconnection or Reconnecting. Okay, so I do want to talk about that to give the TI's perspective for the sincere folks that are inquiring. Once again, I just want to say for the sincere folks who are not biased or blinded by abusers. Okay, sincere meaning no ill will or intention, no personal jealousy, vendettas, and secret competition issues. If that's not there, then you're possibly operating from a more neutral, fair, honest, just, okay, especially if you're concerned and you're sincerely just wanting to learn about who the TI is and how they've become who they've become and why they operate the way they do, and some of the things that have been manufactured through the abuse that they have lived, and the powers that be, and all of the puppeteering hands behind their life to push them into corners. In other words, to coerce them to make selections, kind of lesser of two evils, but the bottom line is it's still two evils. Okay, that's the kind of life, not to break out the violin and excuses, but it's the truth, whether people are ready to hear and accept that or not. It is truth. Okay, it's truth and facts. I'm gonna say that it's truth and facts. Okay, so a part of the TI's journey is that, you know, the natural, if you're into psychology, human behavior, and all, studying all that stuff, then you know that the human psyche and energetic system takes a shock. Okay, so when you're traumatized, they call it betrayal trauma, which is different than trauma. Okay, you depending on what your setting is, okay, it's natural to go into some kind of a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And so the TI, once they realize that betrayal trauma, the betrayal trauma is from loved ones, okay? That's the difference between just being traumatized and betrayal trauma. If y'all didn't know, there's actually a difference. It is, and I didn't make it up, okay? So yeah, it's science. Now, betrayal trauma is because these are people that either your own blood, people who smiled at you, people who cared for you, people you trusted, people you looked up to, people you thought, you know, it's deep. So that's family, lovers, any folks who played a significant role in your life that you would think they would be the last people on earth to betray you in that manner. Okay, that creates another layer to it. So the TI, what happens, this is psychology now, it doesn't matter what your belief system is, okay? The TI, depending on their personality and what their settings are as it pertains to trauma, okay? Because we don't get to pick, okay? It's not, you don't pick, it's what it is, okay? It's secondary. It's not something that you consciously sit up there and go, oh, I'm traumatized, and so I'm fixing to go into, you know, no. Okay. The TI, which the abusers know full well what they have done, it was always to isolate the TI. But it was to do it in a way that looks like it was the TI versus their puppeteering manipulation. So in other words, by gaslighting and triangulating behind the back of the TI, the other extended family members, extended friends of the family, all those things, so that the TI, so it's kind of like they're on my side. You see them on social media, you'll see the abuser and all of the extended family member stuff, which is to send a signal to the TI that, you know, they're on my team. They believe me. They're, you know, I got my fangs in them. I got my spell. Anyway, so the TI then, because again, they're in shock. You have to take all this into account. They've been betrayal trauma. They're traumatized. And it takes everyone different lengths of time to even fucking deal with that. Okay? To find out somebody been trying to kill you is not a light thing. To find out that somebody been paying people to do shit to you, these things aren't lightweight. This is not like stealing Doritos or your favorite blouse. Okay? This is serious. Okay? I have to, it's redundant, but I'm saying it because humans are slow sometimes. We have to hear things 1 trillion times, and then maybe when we're 1,000 years old and we 1 foot in the grave, then we get the sudden revelation. Oh, you see what I'm saying? So this is it's betrayal trauma. You don't get traumatized because somebody stole your flat iron. I gotta make this shit plain because people are trying to put everything in the same category, and that's just this ignorance. It's gullible, it's naive, and it's convenient for abusers. It's not the same. Science or behavioral health specialists would not be qualifying that as betrayal trauma, okay? If you don't want to take that from me. Somebody stealing your phone, you know, that's not betrayal trauma, nigga. That's, they owe you $50, ain't betrayal trauma. Poison, yeah. Attempting to poison somebody, yeah. Paying weirdo, retarded ass root workers to do shit, yeah. You know, attempting to, yeah. That's something, huh? Joining some kind of cult and trying to sacrifice, yeah. Stealing property, mail, putting the person in harm's way via interference and stealing, yeah. So the TI realizes that they have to survive and that no one is trustworthy when they deal with the fact that this is betrayal trauma. So if the motherfucker that came out her hoo-ha or his penis, so we think, and I'll put a pin in that. But the bottom line is, if the motherfucker I thought I came out, they shit their loins, bitch. You know what I'm saying? If this hoe can do it, and I know it sounds very vulgar, but it's fitting the betrayal, and we have to think about it in those terms versus these glassy, fake spiritual, fake religious, foo-foo-y, you know what I'm saying, terms. It's like, get out of there now. Let's get real. Come out of there. If somebody has actually experienced that shit is, you got a pin in that, because it don't even qualify. It don't qualify for nothing we be talking about. The shock to the system of the individual that the motherfucker that should have been predispositioned by nature, I'm gonna say it again, should have been predispositioned by nature. If they are capable of such horrific, hideous things, then what of all the others? Because it should have been natural for this motherfucker. Exactly. So it leaves the TI to make these decisions. Like I said, the lesser of two evils. But the bottom line is that it's still two evils. So and people don't ever catch that. We say it, but do you catch it? It's still an evil. Because that's how they puppeteer the target's life in the background. If you're manipulating and sabotaging and finagling somebody's options, then that's what the fuck it is. I don't care what nobody say. That's what it is. Whether this is on a micro or a macro scale. But as it pertains to micro, when it's to do with relationships and things of that nature, the TI then they separate, but it's out of survival. It's survival. I don't know who I can trust. How deep does this wound go? And what reinforces that mindset of the TI is every attempt that they have ever had to talk about it, what they get when they do. So it makes it difficult to reconnect. So every attempt that they've had to talk about, what's been done to them, what they face, on top of how their life has been kind of sabotaged, and it makes it difficult because then they come out looking like people, and here's where it's going to get very interesting. They end up looking like people that's only connecting because they're in need of survival. So sometimes the target will end up saying, well, I'm not going to even bother because it just looks like I'm trying to survive. I don't know how far deep this goes anyway. I don't know if they're in cahoots with this hoe, this nigga. I don't know if they're, you know what I'm saying? And then even when they try to rule it out, they still have the reality of what their life has become. So it then, even if that's not their heart, it still then looks like they're only connecting due to trauma. Because remember, the isolation is initial, and that's their survival. And psychology and behavior health says it's normal. And if we put on our thinking caps, it is. The animal kingdom held on to their instincts. We've been conditioned differently. I talked about that. Osiris the cat, one of the great loves of my life. I'm honored to still be able to talk to him and see him whenever I want. But Osiris the cat taught me a lot. Watching him, observing him. I had him for almost, it was like maybe 7, 8 months. And just watching him different, his different little things. It's like, okay, he's a cat. I watched that. He's a very sweet one. His temperament as a black cat, they tend to be, it just depends. Most of them tend to be a little bit more mild mannered. But his ancestors are predators. Okay, they are. The cats. Their ancestors are predators. And they have certain instincts, and there's no class. I kind of laugh at some of the stuff because I'm like, how does he know? Like when I would play hunting with him and pretend like I was like a cat and stuff, because he used to love when I did that. And so it was fun to watch. And then even when I would play with his toys that we call feathers and mousy. Okay, he loved the feathers. Feathers and mousy. Boy, when he was like feeling some kind of way with the feathers, boy, his whole everything get to going. And I was like, how does he know how to do that move? Like I would watch him. I'm like, it's like he went through training. It's like, what the fuck? Who told him how to get on his back and be like, dun, 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 and do all this stuff? Like he would get really fast and creative. And you know why? Because it's his instinct. To survive his ancestral stuff. Okay, the wild and stuff, it's in his DNA. Now as domesticated, I know like the mama, like they'll take their cubs and sit on certain things, but other stuff is just already in their DNA, and it kicks in with time and as it's needed or whatever. Humans are the same, but we've just been programmed differently. So some of the stuff, just like they call it the trauma shake, animals do it, it's natural. Mm-hmm. It's energy that's stuck. The body's in shock, so it's a reset of their nervous system. But the point that I'm making is that in the human experience, some of the stuff that's happening, especially with the TIs, it's actually normal. They don't know, and you can only perceive and imagine if you really have a point of reference. It's hard otherwise. Because everything is easy to sit and evaluate from that position, from a clean classroom, clinical, you know what I'm saying? That's cinchy. It's cinchy to compartmentalize as if that's the way life actually unfolds. As if there was like a pause button and a clause button, and as if we're a third party in our own life, like when you go to the movies. You see the backdrop, the dumb bitch running, don't. We screaming at the screen because we see the backdrop. She don't. She the dumb bitch and sitting there looking stupid, running in the wrong direction. That's the deal with the TI. They're living it, but folks observing that when got these degrees and these certificates and all this stuff, they really have convinced themselves that suffice for real time, real life, and it absolutely does not. The TI separates for survival. Who else is trying to hurt me for hire? Motherfuckers are sellouts. Who else is trying to sell me for kibbles and bits? If this one was capable of doing it, then by golly. If this one believes some grotesque, fake-ass, manufactured, concocted, corrupt bullshit about me that they don't have the courage to come and talk to me and face me about, if then what else of folks that are more distant in the bloodline? Or what else does it mean for people that were just extended friends of the family and people who don't have a natural DNA, predisposition to care? And if they're all in love with the abuser, this pushes, and this is what the abuser knows. This is a part of why they're always showing up on everything. If they're all, got their head up the ass of the abusers, that tells the target that at least at bare minimum, this person is blind. Even if it doesn't tell them they mean them harm necessarily, it does tell them, okay, they're blind, which is still danger. It's still danger to them. Because that person becomes like the representative of the abuser. So the target goes, okay, self-preservation, my mental, my emotional and physical, spirit, all that is at stake. I'm responsible for my own life. So since I'm responsible for my own life, then that means I have to cut out the danger. I have to cut out what's playing with my life. I have to cut out the leak. Where's the leak? If I can find it, because sometimes the target can't because of how sophisticated it is, how far deep it goes, and how long it's been going on. But I'm simply explaining that's the target's challenge. So even when they want to reconnect with people, because they're constantly cleaning up messes that's not theirs. That was never theirs to have to deal with. Now, again, I'm not, what's the words? Lesser of two evils. I have to keep coming back to that because yes, the target's making choices. But if you got somebody manipulating your choices, sit with that. I need you to sit with it. Again. So somebody is stalking you, killing, trying to kill you, entering the premises. The authorities seem to have fucked the manager, the owner, or the manager's brother. But you got all this going on at one time. Nice. In a land that you're not from. Daily, you watch your kid getting sick, oddly, and you're not sickly, and they're not typically sickly. So it's not adding up. It's looking suspect. For people who aren't street runners, for people who don't do recreational drugs and alcohol, for people who, that is looking fucking suspect. So even though it may not be the most thought out, convenient, secure plan, but see, remember, lesser of two. So that makes the target feel some kind of way, feel bad, because even if they're cleaning up shit, they're constantly surviving something. That's the whole thing about them being targeted for this little shit show, funny shits and giggles torture program, until it's these motherfuckers' turn, in which it will be, it shall be, and it is. And I'm talking micro, macro. Oh, they gonna get theirs, honey. Some of them already are. And some of them don't even know it yet. It's a delayed effect, and then they'll get a phone. Just as they're laughing and shit. Oops, phone call. Yeah, don't be fucked up. Put that on a t-shirt. But back to what I'm saying. You see how it looks? It's a bad look. The target is aware of how the shit looks. They know that this is exactly what the abusers have wanted. They know. The target becomes isolated because they don't know who to trust. Once they work through all of that and they want to try to siphon between who they could have a relationship and who they can't, then it's like, I got to still manage and damage control my life from the abusers and their cohorts and what they're constantly up to. So for those who sincerely out there that stumble across this video, this is for you. Just know that the target knows what this looks like. And sometimes it's a part of why they won't reach out. It has nothing to do with pride. The target's life has not allowed them to be one, nigga. Let me just help you. I'm finna help a few folks. The target's life hasn't allowed that. That's the karmic, baby. I promise you, it's them. They're the ones highfalutin and shit. Let me rephrase that. Fake highfalutin. Some of them too good to walk. It's like, nigga, what you, nigga. What you mean you do? What you need a fanciful car for, motherfucker? The shit is down the street, ho. Come back. Listen, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having fanciful cars. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, that's their little energy, their little spirit and attitude. It's not the targets. That's karmic. I promise you. They too good for shit, but then they always begging in the background, but they too good for shit. You know what I'm saying? They gotta have a Mercedes and shit. What the fuck for? What the fuck for? What for? Oh, a look, huh? Ain't got shit else. But they dumbass need a fucking, you know what I'm saying? Come on now. They don't do shit. I mean shit. But shit. And eat. And shit. And cause problems for motherfuckers. And drink. And eat and shit. And shit and eat. And cause problems for motherfuckers. And gossip with they old ass. What do they need a car for? So they can drive 1 mile up the street to pick up little susu. They got 5 family members running errands. The fuck. Uh-huh. Too good to walk. They be clowning or TIs. Yeah, I'm proving a point. That's a karmic thing. So the target's reclusing, that recluse, that's not pride. That's not funny style. It's first and foremost preservation. Because once you've been betrayal trauma several times over, you be like, okay, motherfuckers fucked up. It just is what it is, bitch. It is what it is, motherfucker. You know, we ain't finna sit here and sing no song about it. It just is what the fuck it is. And again, broken record, redundant. When they reach out, depending on what kind of conversation they have, that starts to also form the target's thoughts. Okay, if there's a lot of interrogatory type of energy, if there's a lot of trying to get the TI to doubt their experience in reality, then they don't really have bandwidth because someone else cannot conceive of and fathom the fact that the abuser is the abuser. So for an example, okay, me and my son, we're still in healing and recovery, and I still don't know what's to come and what's to happen. I don't know. I'm doing the best that I can with where I'm at, with the resources that I'm able to connect to, considering all things, and I'm working it the best way that I can. And in this now moment, we're okay. We're actually more than okay in this now moment. But a part of my rationale with California for a lot of people is because there are people that was in California that have fond memories of me. No. Their experience with me, their encounter with me, you know what I'm saying? And when you come from an environment where you were surrounded by hatred, condensed, concentrated negativity, where you had to lay your head, when you come from a space where the authorities are connected to your haters and they spread like cancerous gangrene, like the fucking pandemic plague, bitch. Through a whole city and a whole town, you really don't feel like you have a future there. And I chose California, and I'm actually honored, and I'm glad that I did, because it just as I suspected. I knew that it was going to be hellish and difficult due to the financial constraints and situation, but I also knew that I had a higher probability of connecting with folks who had a fond experience with me. So they hadn't been bitten and poisoned by the fucking narcissists. In terms of who I really am. And that people will encounter me and you know, based on those things. And that's what I'm experiencing. Am I experiencing hatred still? Absolutely. Racism still? Absolutely. And I smell it every time. But it is nice to have closer proximity and access to people who actually can see me for who I am versus who the narcissist has spell casted and told them I am. Now, Fusion Center employees, I'm not speaking of them. They're told what they're told and they believe it, unfortunately. And if they're racist and they have any other issues there, it just happens to work. Okay. People are traveling here, from other states here. I know that too. But it's still better. And that gives me hope of rebuilding, even if it has to be from scratch, based on new encounters with new people, as well as any people who are not allowing themselves to be pulled into any corruption traps. Just know that the target, if you're innocent and you really haven't done nothing to the target and you don't mean any harm to the target and all that stuff, and you didn't know and all that, well, just hear this from me officially, then the target doesn't have an issue with you. However, if you're somebody who likes to straddle the fence, or the target has to operate accordingly. Their life is being played with like a game, and they know what that looks like. And so they accept and respect that people are going to look at them like they're some kind of fickle, slacker, lollygagger, which is everything that these karmics are. The only thing that they're not slacking at is nonsense. What they're professional at is stealing. Stalking and stealing. That is what they are proficient in. That is what they are consistent in. Hustling. Okay? And stealing other people's identities and ideas. Destiny swapping by their torture program and trying to take on personalities and personas that aren't theirs. That's what they're doing. We are reclaiming, but a part of that is acceptance. We also want authenticity and truth. So you get to a place when you've dealt with so much abuse or betrayal that whole toxic way of relating and family and stuff, it doesn't jive with the target late in life. Life is too short, and it doesn't jive. It's like, okay, if you finna be 1,000 years old and sitting here talking behind my back, talking to my abuser every day, you and I don't need to have a conversation then. Because wherever you are in life doesn't allow you to be able to see this person straight, which makes me feel like your judgment is off. See it? Which is normal when you're dealing with narcissists, you know what I'm saying? But for the target, it doesn't matter. It's at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, ain't nobody got no lifetime for that. Okay, it's just, we ain't finna do that. We ain't finna, no, sorry. Because people, it be taking 20 and 30 years for somebody to see a narcissist correctly. Because you got to be pretty damn diligent. That's what I'm going to tell you. You got to be, shit. And if you too, tied way down, which is what the system wants, you're overworked, you're overstressed, you know what I'm saying? And then when you're not, you're passing out, you're throwing back that jack down. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Don't be mad at me. I'm just calling it. It does affect your frequency, just like a lot of other chemicals. I'm aware of it. Everything that we eating, I ain't gonna even get too far off, man. I'm so pissed. Y'all don't eat, man. I'm like, son of a bitch. When you realize what the fuck's been happening, it's like, they got us good and addicted. You came in here, they wiped the damn memory, bitch, and then you gave us a bunch of poison, bitch, and what you gonna do? So my whole theory is that's why I try to minimize as much as I can, because at the end of the day, most of what we doing has got some kind of shit in it. Especially if you're like me. I like junk food. It's like, whoa, below me down, low vibrational. See it? It has a frequency. See it? Oh, we ain't ready for it. We don't want to hear it yet because it's going to make you pissed. So I have my ways of trying to compensate for the fact that we're breathing shit, we're consuming shit. So I minimize the best I can. It takes a while to, to see straight and to come out of that. And narcissists really, whether they're clinically diagnosed or not, antagonists, types, whatever you want to call it, NPCs, whatever, they're very good at catering to people's weaknesses. This is how they get you to the fuck begin with. So they're very astute, if that's the word, with the Achilles heel, your kryptonite. See, that's why I can't come out that spell, bitch. Be like, whoop. Shit. It's hard, bitch. That's why, when lust and sex is involved, that's why that's one of their favorite things to do. Woo, that's their favorite. Because that's their most powerful, potent way to get your ass to be stupid and stay stupid. And that's also a way they can destiny swap with you and energy exchange and dump some crazy shit. Child. Anywho. So please, in the name of all TIs, we just putting it out there. We don't have an issue with y'all that are not involved in this shit. We are skittish. We're working on those things. Our life is something that's tampered with in ways that are not normal. So in ways that you all's life are not being tampered with. And so we spend a significant amount of time and energy with damage managing shit. We get moments in between, and in those moments, we do try to connect. But again, we know that it still comes off a certain way to folks, and everybody else also have their lives that they're dealing with. Okay. But if we ain't have no issue with folks, then we don't be having issues. Unless they connected to our abuser. And if they connect to our abuser and they still seem to be clouded about that person, with all due respect, we can't trust you. Because it's like, listen, okay, let's put it like this, and I'm going to end it. Let's just put it like this. I'm going to use a very vulgar physical example, but just to bring some context. So let's say somebody was raped or molested, trigger warning, okay, by a family member. But it was something done in private and in secret, and it's their word against the other person type deal. And the rest of the family see this person as blase blase. Well, it's going to be hard for that survivor to want to deal with the family who still want to see that person as decent, because this is somebody who has hurt them and violated them and has potential to possibly try to violate them again. So as a byproduct, they may not be able to deal with the rest of the family. Because it's traumatizing. It's like they're sitting there talking about this person in glowing terms, and this is somebody who hurt them bad. You know how hard it is to sit there and hear glowing terms about somebody that you know emphatically has violated you in the most insidious, hideous, grotesque, inhumane way? It's hard to just sit there and smile and continue to sip on your latte as they sit there and talk about this person in glowing terms. It's like, so you love an abuser, you love a rapist, you love a molester. You're putting us in the same category because of a blood relation. When this person's been following me around the country, paying their weirdo cult members to do it in their sports cars. The thing about being a cult and secret society, you all are going to have to accept that these people are not about to tell you that after church when you go to eat, get dinner after church. They're not going to tell you that. They're not fencing to tell you that, because the whole terms and conditions of them being a part of this shit is the fact that it has to remain a secret. They get dirt on these people. They get dolls on these people, all sorts of stuff. So get rid of the notion and the idea that you think you're going to have some kind of in-depth conversation with these folks and that they're about to just sit up there and lay this out there to you. They're going to tell you what their cult leaders told them to say, which is, this person's crazy. It's in their head. They're imagining things. And then they're going to start quoting Bible to really seal in the deal there. Really get you off their back. Okay. Okay. 42 minutes, 21 seconds in. I'm about to get going here. And that's the challenge of the target. But the targets, they do get to a place. I'm excited. I'm hopeful. Well, change the word. I'm excited and honored and optimistic. Because though I'm still surrounded by snakes, haters, weirdos, prejudiced people, people who are presuming out of their ignorance and all sorts of things, I also am surrounded by people who see me properly, to see that I'm a good person. I'm also surrounded by the possibilities of people seeing and knowing me for me and not under the lens of the narcissist in my life from my past, or even the corrupt authority that's followed me around like weirdos my whole life. Okay, boom. Anyways, like I said, let me get going. If you're decent folk, hope you're I anticipate and I'm optimistic that you are okay or will be okay as you do what you have to do in the way that you and whoop. Don't ask me where I got that from. And whoop. That I made up. I don't know why and where it came from, but I did. Okay. That's not one of my bits of, the comedians that I love. I don't think I've heard them say that. So that's a Bloomster thing. When I be like, and whoop. I'll put that on my t-shirt. And whoop. Let's make it simple, humans. Let's get back to simplicity here. We're all different. You just never know. We're all flawed in the human experience. Let's get back to the basics. And let's deal with our own shit. Let's learn how to smell our own poop. Let's realize that we all deal with nose blindness to some extent. Whether it's individual or a family or whatever it is, we deal with that. stop and smell the poop. Let's stop and smell the roses. Let's stop and smell the poop. Let's stop and smell our poop. I guarantee you, and none of our poops smelling like cotton candy. And I guarantee you, ain't none of us pissing Hawaiian punch. And if you have a problem with cuss words, okay, respect, then I'm not the person that you want to watch and listen to. I do have more structured things that I do where there's less cussing, but I'm unapologetic. If more folks would embrace their shit in a healthy way, we would have less passive aggressive relationships. We would have less hate crimes, crimes of passion, if people stop pretending like they're not dealing with anger, and if they stop pretending and thinking that by polished language that means they're not an angry person. Sometimes those are the ones who are carrying the most stuck anger, which is why they end up being abusers. Think about that.